Hey everybody, Jason Ladany here, and about a week ago I asked for you guys to ask me some questions, and it's a week later, so I'm going to answer those questions, and by doing that, we're going to offend people on the internet. From Steve, what's your favorite meal to have when you're traveling? When I'm on the road with my manager, typically every city we get into, the first order of business is to find like the swankiest steakhouse in town, order a steak, get a couple martinis, and live life. It's hard enough on the road as it is, so why not enjoy it? So that's one of our favorite things to do on the road. This is from Carlos. What challenges did you face when writing your books, and how do you manage and deal with negative comments? How do I appear nonchalant? It's not appearing nonchalant. It's a two-part question. Let's get to this. When someone comes in the comments and writes, you're terrible and it's edited and you're garbage and you'll never be anything, to me, that's actually pretty funny because that person is letting everyone know that they have a problem. So I'm good at something and they have a problem with it. So that's their problem. That's not I'm just being good at what I do. And this person has a real problem with it. And that means that in their life, they must be miserable. I mean, who has a bite of an amazing steak and says, wow, this chef is a total asshole. I hate this chef. No, you enjoy the steak. So I'm just doing something that I am good at. And some people perceive that as a threat because it threatens them because they've never done anything with their lives. And also seeing me get praise, oh, they can't handle that either. So in some weird way, I actually enjoy the negative comments because it makes me think, who hurt you? And it means that there's a lot of problems on their end. So the negative comments, if you can see through what they are, and see that it's really a problem with that person, they don't bother you. And if they did bother me, I wouldn't be posting videos every day, right? So you just learn to read them for what they are. And that's obviously a person that has jealousy issues or insecurities and everything. And that's how they're handling their problem. As far as what challenges did I have when I was writing a book, that there's no shortcuts when you write. So it has to be crystal clear. The things I do are very, very complex. And you have to break it down so that anyone reading can understand it. So when I first started writing a book, I would write a paragraph and then my editor or even Darwin would read it and say, this could be a little clearer here. So I had to go back in and he'd still say, more clarity. I don't really understand this. It's very vague here. I don't know what this means. And then I took that back and started realizing I got to go every single sentence by every single sentence and make sure that it's crystal clear. Otherwise, you exhaust the reader and they have to constantly go back and try to figure out what you're saying, and that's not a very fun book to read. So to answer your question, clarity. Writing and learning how to write is very different than doing good card tricks. You have to be good at both. When it comes to your amazing music skills, what 5 songs do you connect with the most? Well, I actually don't really care about playing songs. I'm not really like a cover guy, like, oh, I love that tune, or I love playing this solo. I mean, solos like Comfortably Numb or Another Brick in the Wall, those I know those solos. I know B.B. King's Live at the Regal. I know I can transcribe those solos and play them perfectly. But you're kind of walking through their footsteps when you transcribe a solo like that. So I like to play, and every time I solo, I like it to be fresh and new. If you're a guitar player, you might know stock chops and things where you have like signature things you do. I don't like that trap either. When I play, I feel like I'm enjoying it most when I feel like I'm playing things I never even learned. Like you're just transmitting and great music is coming out of you. That's really something else because you're listening to yourself kind of in the background and enjoying it and going, wow, that's kind of nice. And if you're playing stock chops, you're going, I'm stuck in my own circle here, you know? And if you're playing someone else's solo, great, but that's their thing. So I enjoy improvising, but also fresh and innovative when I play. That's what I like most. And there's no specific song. It's just whatever I feel like playing at the moment. The only thing you haven't done, make a card float. Well, this is a skill-based page. I know it might seem impossible, some of the things that I do, but when you watch this page, I'm using sleight of hand and a lot of skill sets that all exist in the real world. So unfortunately, you're never going to see anything float because, I hate to break it to you, but I don't do magic. It may look like it, but I don't do actual magic on this page. From Inked, is there any trick that you're ever nervous to perform? No. If I'm on stage, I'm doing things that I know are going to work, which means that I have practiced them for sometimes 5, 6, 7 years. There's been things that I have worked on that I remember starting around 2013 that I didn't put on stage until just before the pandemic. And that way I know 100% that I'm getting into something that I can do. I don't want to be nervous on stage, and the only way to combat that is through practice. From Pandaniel, how did you start learning all this card shuffling stuff? Who were your teachers? I really only had one teacher, and his name was Darwin Ortiz. And I talk about this in the previous Ask Me Anything, but just look him up, Darwin Ortiz. He's got several books out, and that's where I saw some of the most amazing card cheating technique I've ever seen in my life. You could also check out Steve Forty is another name where you watch it and you're just like, how is this possible? Mike Vincent, Tony Cabral, Angel Wimhurst. You can look these guys up and see some of the most amazing shuffle work you've ever seen in your life. I mean, not as good as me, but they're close. Is there a trick you've tried to do that has totally stumped you, like no matter how much you try, you can't get a performance ready? There's always things I'm working on, and if there's something I'm working on that's giving me trouble, it only makes me want to work on that more. So I know that for some of my students anyway, when something they struggle with, they put it on the back burner. That's the exact opposite. My nature is if that's the thing that's not working, that's what I obsess over until it does. So anything that is a challenge for me is something that's I'm working on to get to the point that it's performance ready. From Jacob, what's been your favorite experience in your career? Well, something that you really just absolutely love is walking out to an even bigger audience than you've ever imagined in your life. And we keep topping that. We were just in Vegas recently for 1,200 people at Caesars, and that's just amazing. So filling up a tour schedule, performing nonstop, and larger and larger theaters, that to me, that means you're doing it right. That means everything that you've worked for is coming around, like your dream is kind of coming true. Where is somewhere you would like to perform but haven't had a chance to yet? I want to go to Hawaii. I've been everywhere. We've been, 28 countries or something like that, but been all over the world, but for some reason Hawaii seems to be eluding us. So if you have a venue in Hawaii, get your shit together. What trick do you do, in your opinion, that gets the biggest reaction from the audience? Well, I can honestly say the poker chip and the card catch are very big, because there's a lot of tension when I do those. People are watching in disbelief, and I haven't even got to the end yet. But there's a few other things, but I don't want to tip them, because if I say them, then they won't be a surprise during the show. But I would say those two get the biggest reactions. Adam Court says, why do you look like Jason Bateman? That is incorrect. The correct question is, why do you look like Christian Slater? That's watch Hard Rain and then get back to me. Just Fundamental says, will you ever bring out a Jason Ladany custom deck? Yes, I will. 2 years ago now, I think, we did the Apollo deck, which was a huge hit. They're very classic. They're amazing. That's what this green thing. A lot of people ask, what is that green thing back there? That's an Apollo case. So the Apollo deck was amazing, but yeah, I plan on doing more, so stay tuned, and we will have some more. We'll bring back more classic designs and also bring out some new things that have that classic feel, because that's what I'm all about, is that old school traditional feel, but find these rare decks and then bring them back.